Good morning and happy July 3rd, episode 211. A little shaky here on my intro. Episode 211 of Pass the Mic. Mike, how are you?
I'm good. Happy July 4th Eve. How are you?
I'm great, and we have a special guest today. Why don't we do a brief introduction? My good friend, old friend, Kymane. Kymane, you want to say a few words about yourself here?
Kymane Clark. I met Mike in high school playing varsity basketball, and what has it been, like 30-some years now? We've been friends.
It has been. Yes, it has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Long time.
Well, welcome to Pass the Mic. We are online recording today for our pre-July 4th special. Pretty close to the country's birthday. We're at 211, not at 250, but right? Isn't that the big celebration?
We're catching up.
Right.
Yeah. We have.
Well, all right. Feedback and errors from last week. You want me to start with that? First of all, the Ren Dog did reach out. We talked to the Ren Dog. He loved Max as a guest. He agreed with us on both. Last week, we did overrated, underrated. We do with this card game sometimes, and it was roadside attractions and saltwater taffy. He agreed with us totally. Roadside attractions good. Also, he was with us. Unlike Max and saltwater taffy, has issues with his teeth. The Ren Dog says he wants to protect that. And I made that day trip on Friday, as I mentioned, in Chicago. There are a lot more roadside attractions, even along the route on 94. Heading out there. So. Also, Jill Burguy reached out with a text. She was front row and center for Nate's catastrophic knee injury. Gave us the puking emoji when he blew out his knee in the basketball game. And then it was also had the Warren girl in the car when we discussed the car accident.
Yeah. I didn't even get Kelly's approval for. I hope he was okay with that.
Yes. Well, now everyone knows about it.
Yeah.
She also says stop picking on Mackenzie Harris about Olive Garden.
Yeah, she really took up for Mackenzie on the Olive Garden thing.
You got anything else, Mike?
Hey, Key, what are your feelings on Olive Garden?
I think it used to be great at one point. That was a great first date restaurant, but I think now it's overpriced and the quantity is horrible.
Way to listen to Jill, Mike.
Yeah. I didn't know what he was going to say. That wasn't planned. Okay, I have quite a bit of feedback. Let's start with Hottie. I'll be honest. If I grew up in the late '90s, I think I'd be more of a Limp Bizkit than Tupac, because I had brought up the Limp Bizkit. You know, what were we thinking? So that was from Hottie. Max, I should have mentioned boiled peanuts throughout the South as a roadside attraction. Shannon Bailey did give a lot of feedback.
The dirty sodas.
Dirty sodas amongst others. Man, I'll tell you, this is not going well for me today. I'm sorry. Let me start with Ken. This is just not good. I can't see anymore. Hey, Mike, how's it going? Hope you're having a good day. Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, speaking of the dirty sodas, my mom, Nate, and I went out to the new Beverly's brunch house today in Gibraltar. Delicious. Nate gave me some business because I got a cherry cold brew coffee, which was probably loaded with calories. So I went against what I normally say. It was delicious, though.
All right, let me start with this. Max corrected himself. There were no starters on Michigan's team 2 years ago that were there now, starters, so that he corrected himself. Elizabeth Pate, you called me a New Yorker, specifically talking about Jon Stewart. Funny because it was a couple days ago we were talking about the Giants and the Jets, but she's actually from Jersey, and they are considered New York's little brother. So I found that to be pretty interesting from Elizabeth Pate. Ken mentioned, my stepdad Ken, we've been to Wall Drugs, like Mike P mentioned. It made me think of all the great places we have seen. So he kind
Gary
of
Bailey
that
as well. He sent me an email. Gary Bailey is a Wall Drug visit.
Yeah, there's so much to see in this country. Max said about plaques and history. We didn't have all those things to do. Ken mentioning we didn't have all those things to do in summer, like basketball camps. We had city recreation. Mainly we entertained ourselves. Shannon, first camp, me setting up. Yes, I'm old enough to do things on my own. Camp memories. I agree. It's cool to work at camp. I've been around my entire life. After I've gone to it, roadside stands. I hate road trips, and I say underrated. Part of the reason she says underrated is because it gives her a chance to stop and get out of the car. So I think that's a really interesting take by Shannon. And if I'm not mistaken, it's Shannon's first comment about first comment on Pass the Mic. From
And
Todd.
congratulations on her job. Congratulations on her job.
Yes, Todd did send a Roadside America Uncovered book for us to look at. Kyle Wally, NHL only does 3-on-3 in overtime in the regular season. I think the NFL and NCAA football overtime is pretty different than the regular game. It is different, but my point is it's still part of it. They still do actual gameplay. So that was my thing. You mentioned Jill Burguy. Max has a suggestion: play the entire shootout straight after 90 minutes. The winner of the shootout gets a 0.5 goal lead going into 30-minute extra overtime. I think that's a great idea. He got that idea from somewhere else. Troy, welcome back. Troy hasn't listened in a while. I don't like complimenting Max. However, he's a very, very good podcast guest. Very well spoken. Should do an episode with all of the Press Box crew. That's certainly a joke. Also, the dirty sodas are, and I quote here, nasty as hell. Nasty as all hell, excuse me. Ashley Terry, I want to give a shout out. Former Pass the Mic guest, Ashley Terry. I'm excited and honored to announce that I have been promoted to the Dean of Academic Excellence and Success at Washtenaw Community College. So congratulations, Dr. Terry. So that's all I got. I apologize for the I could not see here. I had to get my reading glasses, and there's a delay, so that's why I was a little flustered to start.
Are you okay now?
I'm okay now.
Okay. All right. Stock questions for our guests, like we do every time we have a guest. Kymane, it's your birthday. What is your birthday dinner going to be? Out to eat, at home, home cooked? What is the meal?
Oh, birthday dinner. Usually I'm just, I spend all birthdays with just family, surrounded by the wife and kids. So it's just cake and ice cream. If anything, maybe some burgers on the grill or something.
Okay. All right. So home cooked.
I think it's a unique. Yeah. I don't think we've heard. Nobody's gone the cake and ice cream route, Mike, if I'm not mistaken. And nobody's done
it's always been a meal. He went desserts first, which I'm a. Do you have a ice cream preference or a cake type preference, or what's the ice cream preference?
We have cookies and cream ice cream, vanilla cake. I love the real icing. I don't like the foam icing. It's disgusting.
Okay. All right. I like the dessert route going. This is a first for Pass the Mic. I'm a fan of this.
Yeah. All right, Kymane. We also asked one question. It's sort of been opened up. It used to be one person alive, who would you have dinner with? But people have gone the route of the deceased. So I'm going to let you just pick one person, deceased or alive, that you could eat dinner with. Who's it going to be on your birthday?
Oh, deceased. Oh, my Uncle Mark Lott. Funniest man I've ever met. One of the most intelligent men I've ever met. And he kind of, as a kid, he used to always encourage me to think for myself and, be my own person. So it's kind of why I'm outside the lines all the time, and my thought process is a little different. My Uncle Mark Lott.
Okay, that's interesting because knowing you are that type of person that does think outside the line. So that's a pretty interesting shout out to your Uncle Mark.
Yeah.
All right. Great answers. A nice way for our guests to get to know you a little bit. All right. We asked, do you have a mic of the week for us?
My mic of the week would be Michael Render. He's on my shirt, a.k.a. Killer Mike. One of my favorite lyricists.
Okay.
Excellent.
He was one of our first mics, and we allow, guests can have whoever they want. He was one of our first mics. Kymane, I'm going to tell you, I'm a little disappointed you didn't go the Michael Jordan route. I thought you would do that for sure.
Nah, I mean, I love Mike Jordan. You grew up idolizing the guy, but Michael Render is somebody who's his music has played a major role in my life. So
his music, he's a social activist. He's a funny guy. Like he's a super, super well-rounded guy. So it's a great pick.
Yeah.
All right,
All
Mike,
right.
you want to lead us into our education topic here so we can learn more about our guests?
Yeah, so I thought of this recently. Kymane had mentioned that we have known each other for more than 3 decades. Kymane came to Taylor Kennedy High School, the now closed Taylor Kennedy High School, in the fall of 1994, his senior year. And I thought, what an interesting story, because here is a person that is moving. And Kymane, I'm going to let you tell your story. But you came from Gary, Indiana, to Taylor Kennedy High School. Can you talk about that before I get? Because I have a laundry list of questions here to ask you. And I thought it would be such an interesting topic. So tell us about your background first, and then I'll lead that into the questions.
Born and raised Gary, Indiana, Methodist Hospital. I'm what you would call the west side of town. Uh, Moved around a lot. Everybody knows the reputation that Gary has. So my mother and my dad, they really worked hard as far as getting us into better situations. So we moved. I say every 3, maybe 4 years, we moved around. And my senior year, my father's job transferred him here to Michigan. So we ended up in Taylor, and I ended up going to Kennedy for my
Okay.
senior year of high school.
And so you come from Gary, Indiana, which you mentioned reputation. First off, before I get into the specific question, you said the west side of Gary, Indiana. I don't know what that means. Can you explain
You
to
got
the
the west
listener?
side and east side is divided by Broadway. So Broadway kind of divides the west side from the east side, and I'm west side. So
Okay.
11th
All right. So
and Wilson.
you come from Gary, Indiana, predominantly African American town, correct?
Right.
Okay, and you come to Taylor Kennedy, where at that time, if I'm not mistaken, the school was over 90% white.
Yeah.
So you're a new student, and you are different than the majority of the school. Can
Yeah.
we start with that? What was that like for you?
So most people it would be a culture shock for, but with how my family works, it wasn't really a culture shock. So Gary is majority black, but we got a little bit of everybody. We have a very large Asian population. Like I didn't even interact with anybody of Middle Eastern, like Arabic heritage until I moved here, because
Okay.
we don't. It's not common there. So we got a little bit of everything, but going there, it wasn't really horrible for me because I had lived in Arlington, Texas in the 8th grade. I
Okay.
moved to Arlington, Texas to live with my aunt. My mother was trying to get me out of the neighborhood. So I moved to Arlington, Texas, and I was there for a while, living with my aunt before going back to Gary and then eventually being in Michigan. So it wasn't a culture shock for me because I had already been around, you know, other races and things like that. So it wasn't really a culture shock for me.
Okay. So, and Mike, you can jump in whenever you want, because, like I said, I have a laundry list of questions.
Well, I'm
So,
gonna jump in right here real quick because that was an
sure.
area where I sort of did it because I moved. My dad, same sort of thing. We followed him for work from this area to suburban Chicago and back. And my main
Yeah,
question was going to be because I was in elementary and I always felt like moving in elementary was a lot easier. But to me, moving senior year no matter where you're moving to or from, it's just such a big year. And all of a sudden now you're being asked and thrown into like. And it sounds just from meeting you earlier today that you had this type of personality that you could pull this off, that you could go into
yeah,
somewhere. Whereas we have kids that, could be just from one district over and have a tough time moving into a new
right.
school. So my question is, and when you mentioned moving to Arlington, it sounds like this moving process before sort of helped prepare you for this move, no matter what Taylor Kennedy was going to be like.
Yeah, my mother was always thinking ahead, so it was always putting us in better situations. So
Okay.
when you come from a place like Gary, some people get caught up in it and they can't escape it. My mother always had a plan to get out. It was always a
Okay.
plan there. So when I finally got here, I was already ready for it because we had already we even in being in Gary, we kept moving to better neighborhoods, better neighborhoods, better neighborhood. So eventually, we ended up in Taylor. I don't know, is Taylor a better neighborhood? No, it's better than what I came from. So we were always my parents worked hard at putting us in better situations, so I was prepared for it.
Yeah, because that's
Okay.
my thing. I think that would have been very difficult, and it sounds like you adapted well. So
Yeah.
Yeah, and speaking of which, I mean that kind of leads to, so Mike, I'm glad you asked that. So how, and I guess you had done it before, but you could apply this to Arlington, you could apply it to Taylor, wherever. Gary, how did you specifically? How did you find your place? You know, what connections did you? Obviously at basketball, we made the connection, but you know,
Right.
what activity? How did you find your place in all of these places? But I guess Taylor Kennedy specifically.
Sports. So when I first moved here, I came with a basketball court, like the rollaway basketball court. So I had rolled my basketball court into the parking lot and just started playing with the guys in the neighborhood. And I had met Antoine Terry, Travis Harding, and Ralph Hall. Like the first day we started playing, they rode up on their bikes, and from there I just, you know, that's how I got to meet everybody and I started to fit in. Just sports,
Okay.
sports and video games. Because everybody used to come. I had the Sega Genesis, and everybody used to just come to my house and play Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter and all of that. So
yeah, the pre-online video games. Pre-online,
Yeah,
people actually had to go to a
right,
person's
this is
house.
before the online. Yeah,
and it's funny because Antoine and I are now, we're even going back further. We play Tecmo Bowl about once a month. We get together, play Tecmo Bowl on Nintendo. So we're going even pre Sega Genesis days.
yeah. You got to keep
Um,
that. You got to keep that kid in you. You got to hold on to that because
for sure.
it keeps you sane.
Um, any advice? So what advice, if you were speaking to a new student and, you know, what advice would you give them?
As far as fitting it, as far as
Yeah.
a new situation,
Yeah. Adjusting to a
just
new
just
situation.
be open. Like you go into a lot of situations, and there are a lot of stereotypes and a lot of labels, and people are viewing things a certain way when you get into it. It's just be yourself, and just be open to other cultures. Like I come from a multicultural family, and a multicultural family background, so it was easy for me to fit in. And I have the gift of gab. I like to talk and conversate with people, and I'm open minded when someone gives their opinion. I'm just not just like, you're wrong because I don't, So just be open minded and just be yourself. Don't feel like you have to force your way to fit in. Just be organic.
Okay.
They gonna like
Mike,
you
you
or they
get,
not.
Mike, you got it. I got two more. I did have a few more, but two specifically. Mike, you got any more?
No, that was a great. That's what I really wanted to get at too. The whole process of, and again, I can't stress some of his tips are great. Even before you ask that question of like, and this is what we talk about, like we talk about it with our incoming ninth graders, right? Like joining
Right.
these sports teams, joining these clubs.
Yeah.
Whether
Right.
you're a new student to the district or not, it's amazing how a lot of these teams will just wrap people up. For the most
Yeah.
part, I mean, we all can agree that not every situation is 100% perfect, and not. But I think for the most part, if you want a great way to acclimate yourself to a community or a district, it's through these sort of team-based opportunities,
Right.
Sure.
and again, like stuff we've talked about many times on this show, and that we have no problem with, Mike, with our family and kids, is being more open and friendly to groups that aren't the same as you or different from
Right.
you, and trying to learn more than shutting your doors and ignoring stuff. So.
Sure. Sure. All right, Key, I got two more. First, anything that you carried with you from the past into the present? Any of these moves? You know, how has that benefited you, if at all, in your adult life?
Something I've carried, the village. My village is strong. I believe in the village. I believe that family is everything. So the moves weren't horrible because I've always had family and support. So I mean, I that's one thing I've always kept with me and kept close with me, just family.
Okay. Lastly, and this is a question that my wife and I were kind of talking over last night. She came up with this one. I think this is really good. Uh, and this would really require you to kind of think deep in your head. And I don't know if you've ever thought of this, but how different would your life look better, for worse, whatever, if you would have stayed in Gary and not moved to Taylor?
Oh, that's easy, man. If I stay in Gary, I do the same thing I'm doing here. Like I volunteer a lot because I'm retired and I'm medically retired early. So I spent a lot of time. I volunteer at my wife's school. I coach. I've been coaching since I was 18, so 30 some years I've been coaching. So I would be doing the same thing in my neighborhood. Just it would just be back home, mentoring, things like that. So it's something I believe in. It's something that I'll probably do till the day I leave this place. I mentor, and I would be doing the same thing, working in the community, because my wife teaches also, so I volunteer in her classroom and her school and all of that. So that's what I would be doing.
Okay. And I know, having had a lot of Carlson students have played for you, knowing
Yeah,
you myself, that's a privilege for them. You're Mike. I just want to let the listener know this guy is outstanding in a myriad of ways. He's one of the most loyal dudes you ever meet. And the
appreciate
kids that play for you love playing for you. And I always worried about you being a little too intense. It's one thing, and it's not a slam, but they say you're pretty calm. And I know age kind of does that to people too. But I'm glad to hear you, and that's a great answer too. I'm sure you'd have done great there as well.
Yeah, my kids wouldn't agree
Excellent.
with that. Yeah,
All
I
right, so
appreciate that.
overrated, underrated this week. Since we have two Taylor Kennedy grads, we got the brick thanks to Chris Pate, which we'll have in the studio. But we are going to do overrated, underrated, the great city of Taylor. Mike, you want to start us off? I'll defer to you since this is your hometown. What do you have as overrated?
You can still hear me, right?
Yeah, I hear you
I
fine.
apologize because it just said I was disconnected and I lost. Okay,
No,
overrated.
you never left. You never left. You never
Okay,
left.
overrated is definitely the reputation. Former guest of the show, Kelly Warren, rip on Taylor all the time because he's from Allen Park and the greatness of Allen Park and all those comments. So I'm just going, the overrated is that Taylor reputation. Just like any other city, it certainly has its parts that aren't great, but there's some wonderful things in Taylor. I'll get to one of them in a moment. The neighborhood I grew up in doesn't look any different from the average place in Allen Park. So I'm going, the reputation of Taylor is my overrated.
All right. I like that. Kymane, would you like to give yours? I'll defer to the Taylor guys first.
The what I feel is overrated or
Yes.
underrated.
Overrated. We're starting with overrated.
We started on overrated. What's overrated in
Yep.
Taylor? What's that little this is just a basketball thing. That little at the park, that little gazebo. They took our basketball court away and put that little gazebo or whatnot at the Heritage Park. I think the gazebo is
Oh.
overrated. I would rather have the basketball courts. So,
Is this where everyone goes for like prom pictures and weddings and stuff, Mike?
right.
I'm not
Right.
and they took away the
They put the
basketball
little
courts for
place
this?
where you can go and you can have the picnic tables and everything. They took away our basketball courts and gave us that. I'd rather have the courts.
Oh,
So
I
I
like
think
that.
the
That's a good
gazebo
one.
is
That's a good
overrated.
one. All right, you ready for mine, Mike?
Yeah, what do you
This
got?
isn't going to hurt. I don't think this is going to hurt too many feelings. I'm just going to say Telegraph Road in general, overrated. Seems to always working on it. You get the cop that gives you. I got my ticket up there from Gardner White's cop.
Behind Gardner White.
Yeah.
Yeah, even though you know about, I still got zinged many years ago.
Yeah.
So I got that. It's torn up right now. I will give it one plug though. They have a Long John Silver's up there,
They
the only
do.
one that's around. So
Well, isn't there a
all
Long
right.
John Silver in Lincoln Park though?
Oh yeah, over there by Dick's, right? We've asked this before. I don't know if that one's still there. I know the one
That's
on
true. You're right.
Telegraph is there.
The one
I
on
still haven't never
Telegraph
been to it,
North
but
line is still there.
Yeah. Um,
underrated,
so
Mike. Here we go. Now it's time for Taylor to shine.
yeah, okay. So it's funny. Key brought up Heritage Park because that's my underrated, and they replaced the indoor courts with some outdoor courts that are these aren't the normal outdoor courts. The ground is very good for it's conducive. You don't get all sore from playing on the cement. It's very good ground. There is so much to do at Heritage Park, from the petting farm. There's an ice cream place. There's soccer fields everywhere, baseball fields. You can run, you can walk, playgrounds. I don't know if I already mentioned that. There is so much to do. People get the prom pictures, the ponds. Everything is there. It's outstanding. So my underrated is Heritage Park. It is an amazing place. Allen Park has nothing like it. So that's my underrated.
All right. What do you got? Something for underrated?
Underrated. I don't know. I think the community in Taylor is underrated. I think they have this reputation of just being like, they nickname it Taylor Tucky, but I've always felt welcome in Taylor. I've always thought the community was really outside of a lot of the surrounding cities that in downriver that I've lived in. I've always thought the community was pretty good.
All right. Excellent. I'm going to go underrated. And Mike and I have talked about this with you before too. I think it's underrated, and like a lot of people just, because especially from us that we're not from Taylor, we just sort of think of Taylor as like Southland, right? And like I was just saying, Telegraph Road is the
Right.
size. It is
Yeah.
so big. I
Yeah.
never realized how big it was. And I told Mike this story when my son started playing middle school basketball game, and he had a game at Hoover, which
Yeah.
felt to me like it was on the other side of the country. All right, from where I'm used to being as Taylor, and I'm like, well, and it's so far west. It always confused me. I thought that would have been called West because it's all the way
Right.
darn near, as far west as you can go, and that's still the same city as. And then like my wife and I, we just did some Facebook marketplace purchases from some, like you were saying, great people in Taylor, some beautiful homes. We bought some stuff for my daughter's apartment, and I ended up in places that I felt like I've been driving for almost hours, but it's still just Taylor. It's until you
Yeah.
really look at it, it's a big city. And that takes a lot to manage. I think people, it used to be, like we say, it used to be 3 high schools. That's a lot.
Yeah.
And but the size of the city is still the same. It's a lot to manage. And I think people they try to pigeonhole one area, and it's not. It's not. It's definitely, the size is underrated and everything that goes along with it. So,
Yeah.
All
right, hot Mike take. You got something for me this week, Mike?
Yeah, so I've been looking into like different debates about education, different educational debates, and I want to know your thoughts on this. And Key, as a parent, you could jump in too. Class rank academically, is this outdated? And we've kind of talked about other things being outdated, but let me throw some things out to you, some arguments I found on different websites from different points of view. Number one, it does not promote. It promotes students taking sometimes classes that are too easy and not necessarily beneficial to them, or taking AP classes, advanced placement classes, for the wrong reasons. It at times can discourage students from exploring other avenues of their life that might benefit them, artistic or otherwise. I didn't realize this. I'm going to tell you, Mike, this year's senior class, this year's seniors, the coming up seniors, are
Okay,
a
26,
wonderful
27.
group. 26, 27, thank you, are a wonderful group. I did not realize the over competitiveness that these students have, to the point where they won't tell other students their schedules until the semester starts. I
Right.
found that to be so. Does that create?
Crazy.
Does this? Yeah. Does it create a false sense of viewing your peers, putting too much of an emphasis on what your peers are doing? And does it hurt the school's culture when you create this climate of competitiveness? And I'm a very competitive person by nature, but is this too much, and does it hurt the school culture? So I'm throwing all those things out, and I'm just asking, what do you guys think? Is class rank an outdated, antiquated notion?
I think the competitiveness is really good. I think it's good for. I think competitiveness is good in anything that we do, especially in education. My kids are competitive, but they get that drive from me. They're competitive in everything. My youngest son struggled, and then he saw how well his older siblings was doing, and it forced him to do better.
I don't disagree with that. I think that as a person that has strived to be better and everything, I don't disagree. But I think even that competitiveness can sometimes take directions. Again, students taking classes that are easier, having kids in AP classes that really aren't benefiting them just for that grade point bump. I think that aspect of it, even in this positive realm where I don't disagree with you, I think that can sometimes have negative connotations with it.
But does it kind of go like maybe I'm not understanding, because it's like we complain that we're not tough enough on education in this country, and now it's like, so I don't know, the competitiveness. My kid graduated high school early, and he did the early middle college, competing with his
Okay.
siblings.
Sure.
So we got a free associate's degree because he took the early middle college course. So I only see good things from it.
Okay. I don't disagree with that part of it. And that's why I'm more asking the question. I'm not even staking a position here.
Yeah.
I know because it really is it's really a tough call. It's certainly a quandary. Mike and I see firsthand the negative aspects associated with it as well. I can't argue with your points there. They are certainly legitimate and outstanding points. I think always striving to do better. It can never be a negative thing. But I think in this way, it has gone directions that I think that nobody really intended or foresaw. And I think that at least it's worth asking the question.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think I don't think there's a right answer. That's the problem. You're going to have negatives and positives of both aspects. At the university level, they don't have it, right? Like at the university level, it's just honors, and there's no. When I went to Chloe's U of M graduation, the valedictorian didn't speak in the big house or any of the others, but I mean, and people still strive hard and try to get those dean's lists and that sort of thing. And at the high school level, you could change it to that. And then, there's been talks of like, okay, instead of valedictorian speeches, it's like you apply to speak, and, there's all different things. Again, I think it's best that we see both the positive and negatives of it. I don't know. I can't give an answer. I don't feel comfortable giving an answer of saying this is right or this is wrong. I don't.
Right.
Sure.
That I guess that's the best way to put it. I hate to, people are going to call me like doing the ride the middle. I mean, that's literally what I'm doing because I don't.
And I am as well. To be clear, I am as well, and I don't disagree with Kymane. I can give a lot of examples where that's the case, and it's benefited kids. But again, we've also seen the other aspect side of it too, where it can be certainly a hindrance in other areas. So it's certainly just a question worth pondering.
Yeah.
So I had my note. I didn't even realize in my notes for my hot mic after our guest made his meal decision that my hot mic was tying into it, but it is tying into it. It's so hot now, and I was thinking about like ice cream preferences this time of year. What is your go-to as far as not only just type? We got the cookies and cream, I know that, but like, if you're going to Dairy Queen. Or do you prefer a hard ice cream place, like, where it's scooped? Do you prefer like a Dairy Queen where you can get a Blizzard? Or do you want a drink, like a shake or a malt? What is your go-to? Again, I'm double dipping, but this was what was in my notes. What is your go-to at this time of year? I still think I'm a fan of the Blizzard. I still think it's like it's like the mix perfectly of like a hard ice cream, but I get the hard ice cream like flavors and everything into whatever type of Blizzard I want.
So I don't eat ice cream as much as I used to, that whole lactose intolerant thing. But my youngest, my daughter, she and I will share ice cream every now and then. So I'm with you. I love the Blizzard, and I always go and get a large Snicker and Heath Blizzard.
Oh, a combo, mix them up.
Yeah, I get the Snicker and
customized.
My only issue is, you ask them, you say, hey, can you put extra in there? And I have more ice cream at the bottom than I do Snicker and Heath. So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Nice. I like that. I like the custom order. I knew you could do it, but So, Mike, what about you?
I like frozen yogurt places. I like serving myself and doing the ingredients myself. So
weighing it, like putting all the stuff in it.
Yeah. So I'm a frozen yogurt guy.
What do you put in there? What's your go-to when you're doing the?
I'm going to get made fun of for this, perhaps called a fun sucker. I like vanilla ice cream.
Just the plain yogurt.
Vanilla frozen yogurt. And then I do a lot of times white chocolate or vanilla chips with it. So I'm doubling down on that. And
this is as bland as can be.
And you have to let me finish though. I do add a little hot fudge or caramel with it. Not a lot though. You can't take away too much of that vanilla. So
I'm not judging. Everyone has their personal taste, but okay, yeah. So everyone's on the soft serve side, though. It sounds like something that you can customize more than just like a scoop of hard ice cream at Baskin Robbins.
Yeah.
Well, my wife likes to go to this little place in Trenton, downtown Trenton. They've sold and rebranded, but that place just scoop. Give me a waffle cone,
Okay.
a waffle bowl rather, and probably what is that stuff called? Turtle something. It's made here in
Okay.
Michigan. I'll do that place.
Is that the
Okay.
corner? Is that the place on the corner there across from the custard place?
Yep.
They have some really good ice cream flavors there.
Yep.
I'm no joke. I was actually there yesterday. I did a lavender vanilla.
They
ice
sold
cream.
the place and rebranded.
They did, but they kept the same ice cream. It's kind of funny.
They have the same ice cream.
For the listener here, Nate keeps walking. Nate keeps walking by in the back room.
Just shirtless, family, still family friendly. He's got to go work. He's got to go work the B-Dubs BOGO shift tonight. He says it's going to be a mess up there, but go get your BOGO wings at. For our listeners for Thursday night.
Thursday night, yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So.
Hey,
do you have a hot mic take? Oh,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
I wanted to make sure, Kymane. I thought you were going to close this out. Kymane, do you have a hot mic take?
No.
Nothing.
No.
All right.
I don't think I do.
I think you were a great guest, and I thought like everything that I thought like the story was a great teaching story for our listeners, especially for kids, and especially not even for kids that aren't moving, our seniors that are going off into a new situation. Like I understand it. Like, I think not to sound like I always like Gen X, because I feel like Gen X, these are the type of things that we were just like expected to do. Like, hey, you got dropped off. Like when you get dropped off at your first practice, you'd be dropped off at your first practice. Your parents didn't get out of the car and go, hey, go meet this kid and go like, hi, I'm so-and-so's dad. And that helped us for situations like this when it was like, hey, you're going to this school, you're moving to this dorm, you're going into this job. And I think, and I'm not one of these guys that tries to bash the younger generations, but they do expect more things to be like handheld and led. And I think your info and your input of like ways to make it easier was great for any type of listener, whatever situation they're going into.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, so Mike, do you want to touch upon the episode 212? We're not sure if it's going to be next week.
Yeah, so you said you're a busy man, so it might not be next week. We are still taking entries into the contest.
Yeah.
So the contest with shirt. Remember, you can comment. We had some people comment on the Spotify episode. We had people comment on the Facebook post. I'm logging all those down. I'm going to be straightforward with our listeners. We had 3 shirts. Chris Pate got the large. So the 2 that are left are smalls. So if you're a bigger person, or even more than not even bigger, I couldn't squeeze into a small. It may be something that you need to gift to a smaller friend of yours. The 2 that we have are small. So Tom Pack, you could probably squeeze into it, Tom. You're a slim guy, but it might be, you might look pretty buff in that thing if you're going to be wearing a small. So, and employees are allowed to win. Tom Pack asked that. Tom, you're an unpaid employee, so you can win.
Now, Kymane does have a shirt. He sent me a text, and I did get him one months ago.
Oh, he has one.
He does.
I didn't want to wear it because I thought it would be corny. So
no, that's all good. But no,
I've been
with that,
wearing it like crazy. I've been getting a lot of
Getting
compliments on your shirt. Everybody has been saying, "I really like your shirt." I'm like, "Thanks, I really like your shirt."
There we go.
How awesome is that?
There we go. Our merch is out there. So again, comment, share, and we will do a drawing in episode 212. May not be next week just due to travel and holiday and everything with that. So Kymane, great guest. Again, thanks for joining us. Happy 4th of July to everybody, right? Happy, be safe. Nobody lose any appendages or limbs or eyes, fingers, any of that. It's not worth it. I know it's not. Just sit back and watch. Drug your dog up.
Yeah.
There you go. Drug your dog up and sit back and watch.
Yeah.
All right,
everybody. Have a great week, everybody. We will see you next week. Maybe.